This week, the quiet in true crime was shattered. 3 cases we've been following for months just exploded with new developments. A father sentenced for killing his baby son, another father found dead the day he was set to turn himself in for his daughter's death, and a college student accused of hiding her newborn's body just hit with new court orders. I'm Lauren Matthias, and this is Hidden True Crime, where we uncover the motives behind the most unimaginable acts. Let's start with breaking news out of Arizona. Christopher Scholtes, the Arizona father who recently pleaded guilty to leaving his toddler daughter in a hot car, was found dead Wednesday morning, November 5th, 2025. In July 2024, Christopher left his 2-year-old daughter, Parker, sleeping in his car for more than 3 hours after going inside his home. He reportedly left the vehicle running, but at some point the car's auto shutoff feature activated. And then when his wife, Erica, who's an anesthesiologist, returned home, Parker was found still in the car. Erica performed CPR and called 911, but tragically, Parker did not survive.
We're hearing the frantic 911 call from a dad at the center of a hot car tragedy.
No, 911, 911, please. My baby was in the car. She's not responsive. Oh my God, oh my God.
2-year-old Parker Scholtes died after her father allegedly left her in his car on a scorching hot day. He says she was asleep in the car and he didn't want to wake her, so he left the engine running and the AC on.
And this was out in the driveway?
Yes.
The little girl's mom, a doctor, came home to find the car off and no AC. Parker was unresponsive. Authorities say her body temperature was 108 degrees.
Is she still breathing?
No, she's not breathing right now.
Okay, we need to start CPR right now.
Yes, we are. We're starting CPR, yes.
I need to hear CPR. I need them to count it out for me. 1, 2, 3,
1, 2,
4.
3. But my wife's a doctor. She's home.
The mom asks her husband, what happened?
It was, but it turned off. I've been checking.
Is she breathing yet?
Is she breathing? No. Oh my God, baby. Baby.
You can hear Dr. Erica Scholtes counting chest compressions.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I don't want to feel like we're intruding, but we're going to have to stand by with you for a while. All right.
Is there a reason why?
So any death, we have to treat like a crime scene. I know this is extremely difficult for you. This is a normal process that we have to follow through with. I don't want you to be blindsided by anything, but that's what's going to be going on for right now, okay?
So I'm being treated like a murderer?
No.
I just lost my baby.
Not at all. I know that. And I know this isn't easy for you. That's why I'm trying to be straightforward and honest with you, okay? I don't want to keep any secrets. I don't want to hide anything for you. Someone's going to talk to you about what happened, though. All right? We will keep you updated with everything.
My whole family, my whole family is going to be ruined.
We'll be all right. So we can't let you do that right now. We have to stand by with you. Okay? As soon as you can, we will let you know.
You can stay in the room if you want, but I'm not going to talk.
I know this isn't easy for you, but the quicker we get this done and finish up, the sooner you can be with your wife. All right?
I'm trying to resolve so I can go to the hospital and be with my wife.
We're not going to shower or anything right now. You need to stand by with us.
I don't understand why.
Okay? Please.
I don't understand why.
I tried explaining that to you. We just need to stand by with you.
I'm standing by. Why can't I take a shower while you stand by? What is...
It's not necessary right now. Okay. I'm not going to stand here and watch you shower. There'll be time for that, but it's not right now, okay?
So... Remember how I talked?
Can we do this maybe out here so the kiddos don't have to hear?
One is sleeping and one's next door.
So remember how we talked about the investigation and things that would transpire? Okay. And I told you I'm always gonna tell you guys the truth. There's no secrets here, right? So based off of our investigation at this point, right, we have determined that there's probable cause to go ahead and charge you for what happened. Okay.
Let's come out here, Christopher.
No.
It's okay.
No.
Okay. So listen. No. Listen. Okay. No. This doesn't change what's happening. This doesn't change what's going on, okay? What happens at this point, it's simple, okay? What happens at this point is you are going to be taken in custody, all right? And you will be booked. And then after you are booked, you have an initial appearance with the judge within the first 24 hours, okay? After the first 24 hours, right, the judge will determine bond and things like that as far as what happens next. At that point, the case goes to the courts. It'll be between you, it'll be between your attorneys, and it'll be between the county prosecutor, okay? So, again, I can't change the consequences of what happened, all right? But what I'm going to ask of you...
Don't make that
Okay.
Could I just have you stand here? Come on, Chris. Let's go over here.
Can you grab him some shoes, please?
No.
They're right there. They're right there. Let me put shoes on.
Can I give him a kiss?
Yeah.
Hold on. I love you. There you go.
Chris, I'm going to be here and I'll take care of everything.
I love you. I love you.
Text messages later obtained by investigators revealed a troubling pattern. There had been multiple instances of Christopher leaving his children unattended in the car. In one exchange, Erica texted, quote, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you?" And then Christopher responded, "Babe, I'm sorry." And after Parker's death, Erica wrote, "We've lost her. She was perfect." To which Christopher replied, "Babe, our family, how could I do this? I killed our baby. This can't be real." According to the child fatality report released by the Department of Child Safety, who released the report in September of 2025, they claimed there had been 9 previous calls to the department involving Christopher between 2014 and 2020. But for all 9 calls, the allegations they state in this report were unsubstantiated. All calls unsubstantiated. And they were all prior to Parker's birth. And oddly, the report also refers to Parker as a boy, a 2-year-old male, throughout Parker's child fatality report. It's odd. Initially, Christopher claimed he had gotten distracted by playing video games and putting food away. But prosecutors alleged it went far beyond that. Shortly after Parker's death, Christopher was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and intentional child. Prosecutors argued that he wasn't just playing video games and putting away food. Rather, they say he was drinking alcohol, playing video games, and watching pornography while Parker sat strapped in a car for over 3 hours, which reached temperatures near 110 degrees. In July 2024, his wife, Erica, asked the judge at a bond hearing to release Christopher so they could bury their daughter together and grieve as a family despite his mistakes. Take a listen.
The state is requesting the $1 million bond.
All right, and I will note that the state asked for $1 million bond on every single homicide case across the board in my experience. I believe the listed victim representative, Erica Scholtes, is online. Ma'am, do you want to be heard?
I would like to be heard, please. And Your Honor, is it okay if I do not show myself?
That's fine.
So thank you for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to say that no one understands how great of a tragedy this is more than myself, my girls, my remaining 2 daughters, and Christopher. So not only do we have to move forward with grieving for my daughter, but we potentially could be losing their father. So the absolute worst case scenario for our family is if Chris were be away from us. We're already hurting. No one else shares this bond and this trauma like all of us, all 4 of us. I know the significance of the tragedy, and I don't want you to think for a second that I underestimate the impact that it has on our lives, on everyone's lives, or that I'm undermining your concerns about the safety of those in our household. So I'm just asking if you can allow him to come home to us so we can all start the grieving process so that he can bury our daughter with us this upcoming week, and that we can go through this whole process together as a family. And so I understand that there is a concern for a flight risk. I just don't see that as a thing. We live in this home that all of our girls were brought home in. If anything, Chris wants to stay here. He's always been cooperative through this entire process and will ensure that we have continued cooperation. And if there's anything additional that is needed from the courts to ensure our safety, I'm happy to help with those certainties that are needed. He's an amazing father. He's a pillar of our community. He's been a coach for young kids. He's taken them to school every day. He's been the main caregiver. I work many hours, so they're all that he sees. This was a big mistake, and I think that this doesn't represent him. And I just want the girls to see their father so that I don't have to tell them tonight that they're going to endure another loss.
Thank you, ma'am.
And that's all I have to say, Your Honor. Thank you.
And earlier this year, in March, Christopher rejected a plea deal that would have had him pleading guilty to a lesser charge of second-degree murder, which would have carried a sentence of 10 to 25 years. While awaiting a trial that was set to begin October 27th, the judge allowed Christopher, his wife, and the couple surviving 2 young daughters to take a family vacation to Hawaii in May. And then in mid-October, just before trial was set to begin, the judge ruled that the prosecution would not be allowed to enter into evidence anything about his pornography searches during the time Parker was in the car prior to her death. A ruling made by Judge Ortiz stated, quote, "The state is precluded from any eliciting testimony in its case in chief regarding the defendant looking for pornography on the PlayStation before his daughter's body is discovered." And then the judge went further to say any witnesses testifying were, quote, "precluded from mentioning defendant's 2-minute search for pornography on the PlayStation on July 9th, 2024, end quote. In a surprising twist, just before the trial began, Christopher accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to second-degree murder and child abuse in exchange for a 20 to 30-year sentence. He was scheduled to turn himself in at the court date on Wednesday, November 5th, and to be formally sentenced on November 21st. But that morning, around 5 a.m., Christopher was found dead inside his home that he shared with his wife and 2 daughters. The Pima County Attorney's Office has confirmed that Christopher took his own life. So as I researched more about this, before recording, I stumbled upon a local Arizona Facebook group, and when news of his plea deal broke, one person wrote in a comment, quote, "Finally, sadly, I doubt he's going to make it to sentencing. He's going to harm himself or not last in prison," end quote. Honestly, this is so sad. His children have now lost both a sister and father. This story is absolutely devastating. And after he was found deceased Wednesday, the Pima County Attorney's Office did something I've not seen before. They made a statement and spoke directly to the girls who lost their father, the adult who his wife Erica had explained had been their main caretaker. Take a listen.
Because we have received so many media inquiries this morning, I will deliver the following information to the best of our ability and knowledge at this hour on the case that has to do with the 2-year-old baby girl who was left in a hot car in Marana last July and lost her life. Due to the extensive and detailed investigation by detectives at the Marana Police Department, for which I am extremely grateful, it was discovered that this baby girl had been left in a hot car on a day that reached approximately 109 degrees for over 3 hours while in the care of her father. Thereafter, due to the extremely hard and diligent work by veteran homicide prosecutors Haley Weigold and Brad Terrace, a Pima County grand jury returned an indictment against that father for first-degree murder based on the child abuse that they found had occurred. We expected to be in court this morning because the father had accepted a plea agreement to second-degree murder, which could have carried as much as 30 years in prison. But instead of coming in to take account for what has occurred here. We have been informed and we have confirmed that the father took his own life last night. This is obviously extraordinarily complicated, and we extend our deepest sympathies and sorrow to all the loved ones who have suffered the loss of this beautiful baby girl, and now another loss to his family. This little girl's voice was nearly silenced because justice was not served appropriately this morning, but it has not and will not be silenced due to the hard work of the people who work here at the Pima County Attorney's Office. Just this hour, our prosecutors, our senior victim advocate, drove out to Marana to personally deliver the news to our next of kin victim representative, the little girl's grandmother, who again we extend our deepest sympathy to. And now I want to end by speaking directly for a moment to our little girl's older sisters, who I have not had the chance to meet. May you be surrounded by love. May you receive all of the support you deserve and need, and then some. May you know and believe that you can survive and thrive. I have proof. There are prosecutors and victim advocates and all kinds of people who work in this building who have been working on cases like this for nearly decades. And they've watched people like you survive and thrive and are now living here in our community as successful and happy adults. This is what we wish for you and know you can achieve. And when you look back on this time as the years follow, may you not feel tied down by what happened here, but rather lifted up by your baby sister's wings from up above. On a very sad and difficult day like today, may God bless you, and may God bless all of the old Pueblo where we all live.
All right. So I personally found it deeply insensitive that the county attorney's office chose to speak directly to Christopher's young daughters, and yet on the very day their father died, made no mention to them of their dad's passing or addressed it on the very day they lost him. And look, I do not excuse Christopher's actions or the choices that led to Parker's death. And I don't expect prosecutors to soften the reality of his guilt. But to be willing to address those little girls and speak only of the sister they lost last year while ignoring the fact that they just lost their father too on that very day felt profoundly unsettling. Regardless of anyone's opinion of this case, the truth is simple. These children, only 6 and 9 years old when Parker died last year, have endured unimaginable levels of grief. Now, with their father's sudden death, that grief has deepened. I can only imagine beyond words. I also couldn't help but notice the absence of any mention of Christopher's wife, Erica, Parker's mother, who has continued to stand by him through it all. And it makes me wonder if there's unspoken guilt or discomfort within the county attorney's office. But of course, I can only speculate. Either way, it is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. So here is a confession. I don't even have a cat. It's an allergy issue, or else I would, because I love cats. But I have become the person recommending cat food to my family and friends. Why? Because I adore cats. Their cats that are better than the random junk brands at the store. This podcast is sponsored by Smalls. Smalls makes protein-packed cat food with preservative-free ingredients you'd actually recognize from your fridge. And they deliver it straight to your door. It's why cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. Getting started is easy. You just share info about your cat's diet and preferences, and Smalls puts together a personalized sampler. My mom's cat tried it, and the difference was night and day. He's eating like a kitten again with more energy, softer coat. And here's the best part. For a limited time, because you're a Hidden True Crime listener, you can get 60% off your first order. That's 60% off plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/hidden true crime. One last time, that's 60% off your first order plus free shipping at smalls, SMALLS.com/hidden. Give your cat the food they deserve. And honestly, your nose will thank you too. You know that feeling when it's dinner time and the kids are melting down and you're staring into the fridge trying to make magic out of half a yogurt pouch and 2 grapes? Been there, done that. That is why I am obsessed with Little Spoon. It's completely taken the stress out of mealtime. They deliver real food for babies, toddlers, and big kids right to your doorstep. Every recipe is made with real ingredients and packed with hidden veggies so you feel good about what they're eating. And somehow, my kid thinks it's all fun food. His current favorite, the Chicken Dunkers Lunchers. It's like a Happy Meal, but healthy. Thank goodness. And the best part, Little Spoon is now in Target. So while you're grabbing diapers or candles or anything else at Target that you probably don't need, you can pick up their snacks, pouches, yogurt smoothies, and even their frozen favorites like the chicken nuggets and meatballs everyone's talking about. So make mealtime one less thing to worry about. Go to littlespoon.com/HTC and use code HTC for 50% off your first order. That's littlespoon.com/HTC, code HTC for 50% off. Little Spoon, healthy, easy, and kid approved. And now to a case that's haunted so many of us. The disappearance and death of 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro. This week, Emmanuel's father, Jake Haro, was sentenced to 25 years to life for his baby's murder, even though Emmanuel has never been found. Emmanuel was reported missing on August 14th, his mother claiming he'd been kidnapped from a Big 5 sporting goods parking lot in Yucaipa, California. But just 8 days later, both of his parents, Rebecca Haro and Jake Haro, were arrested and charged with his murder. Again, to this day, baby Emmanuel has never been found. And Rebecca Haro, his mother, continues to insist she's innocent. Jake Haro, however, has now pleaded guilty, and this week he was sentenced for the murder of his infant son. Jake's guilty plea wasn't part of any deal, and his past is chilling. Jake already has a history of child abuse. Years earlier, his daughter, Carolina Rose, suffered permanent injuries, severe injuries in his care. She was later adopted and renamed Promise Faith. At that time, Jake received little more than a slap on the wrist, probation, and no jail time. So when Emmanuel went missing, many worried the system failed again, especially after prosecutors initially said they were not interested in any plea deal. On Monday, Jake Haro appeared in court for sentencing. His defense objected to fines, calling him indigent, saying he was on disability before his arrest and unable to work. They asked that any restitution be capped at $300. But the prosecution had other thoughts. Here's what the district attorney's office said during sentencing. Take a listen.
While I intend to submit in large part on the sentencing memorandum that I filed with court, I do want to reiterate that while I understand the court has some discretion in this matter regarding the sentence and the fines and fees, I want to emphasize the fact that this defendant deserves no leniency in any regards as to sentence or as to fines and fees. The court is well aware of how this case began with the defendant standing in front of law enforcement and the public and creating this public panic about a child being kidnapped, and the resources that were expended in order to investigate those lies of the defendant need to be addressed in this sentence as well. So I would ask that the court recognize that in deciding how much to assess the defendant in fines and fees, as well as in exercising its discretion regarding the appropriate sentence in this case.
And following that statement, Rebecca's mother, Mary, delivered a powerful victim impact statement talking about the effects Emmanuel's murder has had on their family, but also the effects the immediate exposure has had.
I want Jake to look at me I want him to face me.
And ma'am, if you can address the court.
I would like for him to face me, to look at me.
Okay.
And ma'am, if you could speak up as loud as you can, please.
I wanted Jake to face me, to look at me, because I told him that I would be here for his sentencing before he was arrested. I talked to him about, as a friend, to tell me everything, because he didn't give me the opportunity to meet my grandson. He destroyed my whole family. He branded his children for life. He damaged all his children for life. And in doing that, he destroyed my family, my children, everybody in my family. All my children are destroyed by this. He changed my daughter to where we don't know who she is. He never gave me a chance to see my grandchildren. He kept my daughter away. I don't know what he did or how he changed my daughter's life. But she was never that same person after she went to live with him. The only reason Rebecca came back, because in March I had a stroke. And my son got hold of her and told her I was in ICU. That's how I met Mackenzie, my 2-year-old granddaughter. I didn't even know she existed. Because I was not aware that she was pregnant with Mackenzie. I was not aware that she was pregnant with Emmanuel. I never met Emmanuel. You know, it deprived everybody. And it has hurt my children because the media has torn all of my children apart, okay? Because they say, Grandma knows, Grandma isn't on it, Grandma doesn't know nothing. If I had known what was going on, I would have take my daughter out of there forcefully, or I would have called the police. My sons would have come and got her, okay? Never did we ever knew anything. If I had known when I called social service when Rebecca moved in, I called social service to let them know that I didn't like him. That because my granddaughter Irene was afraid. She didn't want to be there. She called me and she says, Grandma, I don't want to be there. Okay, so I called social service. I asked social service to give me a report of what had happened, what had they found out. Oh no, she's fine. The house is beautiful. They had food in the fridge. That's it. Had social service come and told me what he had done to promise his other children. Nothing of this would be here. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. My grandchildren, Emmanuel wouldn't be gone. Mackenzie wouldn't have been born. Because he had already done a lot of horrible things to his other children. He branded those children for life. And in the same way, branded all my children too. Because I can't go nowhere without they asking me. Every time I go to the store or somebody recognizes me, they attack me, you know, on social media, everywhere. And that is not my doing or my children. This has been horrible for us. I was glad the day that got arrested because I fear for my daughter's life. I fear for everybody. And, you know, he had a second chance. My daughter didn't have a chance with him. Or his children. His children didn't have a second chance. And I think the judge that let him go should be here sitting with him. And so is social service. Because they could have told me, oh no, protocol doesn't allow us to tell you anything. Well, how are we supposed to protect our children if we don't know? The court knows what's going on. I didn't know. I called social service. I didn't know what he had done to his other children. And here he sits, like nothing. Somebody will give him another chance. And I don't want that. Because he didn't give his children a chance. He didn't give my daughter a chance to be happy to take care of her children, okay? My 20-year-old granddaughter, my 18-year-old granddaughter are a mess because of him. Mackenzie, it's totally changed. A little baby, a 2-year-old girl that has nothing, okay? I'm very, very stressed out, very angry at the justice system for letting this guy, giving him a chance. Who gave my grandchildren a chance, a second chance? Did CPS check? Why didn't they tell me? Oh look, this is what that guy does. He takes it out on the children, on the baby, because he can't do it to a grown person. He's not man enough to do it to a man, okay? He destroys so many lives. His mom, his brother, everybody, okay? Nobody wants to be here. Nobody wanted to come and look at it. But I had to speak for my grandson and my grandchildren, and for my children too, because they're going through every hell in this world, okay?
Thank you, Mom.
I didn't mourn my grandson that he passed away. We buried him on the 5th of August, and they were saying that, oh, we probably buried Emmanuel in my grandson's, when we bury my grandson, okay? I lost my grandson on the 5th. We buried my grandson on the 5th of August. Then he calls me on the 14th of August and says that Emmanuel is kidnapped. And then my sister passes on the 17th of August. We didn't have a chance to mourn any of my sister, my grandson, my other grandson, none. Because everybody was angry at everybody because how could this happen? Why? I wish you could look at me and tell me why. He was never in my house. He knew I didn't like him. He knew I called social service, and that's why he kept my daughter away. He changed her so she couldn't have no contact with me or his brothers. Okay? Had I had not had a stroke, I would have never met Mackenzie or, probably heard it on the news about Emmanuel. Okay? So don't blame my children. The media has blamed my children. Everybody. The TikTokers, everybody. Grandma Mary knows. I don't know nothing, okay? And I stand here with you, asking you to give him the maximum. Because I don't want him to give him another chance. He didn't give nobody a chance. He had many chances. He had a chance. The judge gave him a second chance. The probation gave him another chance. The CPS, oh well, no, he's fine. He's got food in the fridge and the house is clean. That doesn't cut it, okay? And that's not fair to the children to let somebody out like that. And I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm just very, very upset and very stressed out.
Ma'am, no need to apologize. This
proceeding here is for you to make your impact statement to talk about how the crime has affected you and your family. I do want to lead with, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for all the hurt that you and your family have gone through.
A lot of hurt.
And I want to thank you for being here today.
I'm here because I'm the only one that wanted to be here, because my children don't trust themselves to come and talk because they're so upset, so angry at the system, what they did. How could they give him a second chance when you see the pictures of the little girl? How? That's beyond me. You know, you get two drunk driving tickets and you go to jail or you pay a goddamn fine. And he, a slap on the hand, go and do community work. Okay? How does that happen, Your Honor? I want to know how did that happen.
Anything else, ma'am?
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
After the hearing, the Riverside County District Attorney's Office released this statement. Jake Mitchell Haro of Cabazon was sentenced to 25 years to life by Judge Gary Polk at the Riverside Hall of Justice. He was charged with 1 count each of murder, assault on a child under 8, causing death, and filing a false police report, end quote. The court found child resulting in death to be the principal offense and imposed an indeterminate sentence of 25 years to life in state prison. Jake Haro also received 180 days for filing a false report, 6 years for his prior child abuse conviction, and 8 months for being a felon in possession of a firearm. All sentences will run consecutively. He was ordered to pay $10,000 in restitution and credited with 551 days for time served. District Attorney Mike Hestron said, quote, "The lies told in this case only deepened the tragedy of Emmanuel's death. While today's sentence represents a measure of accountability for Jake Haro, our office will continue to seek justice as the case against his co-defendant moves forward. Jake Haro changed his plea from not guilty to guilty in a felony settlement conference on October 16th. His guilty pleas were to the court and not a plea agreement with the district attorney's office," end quote. Prosecutors clarified that Jake's guilty plea was made directly to the court, not as part of a plea agreement with their office. What still confuses many observers, myself included, is the 551 days of credit for time served. By my calculations, from the date of arrest to the date of sentencing is only about 72 days, right? But based on what the judge said, it appears that credit may have been combined across his previous cases, essentially giving him credit for older jail time, not just this one. So as of now, Rebecca Haro still maintains her not guilty plea and is expected back in court on January 21st, 2026. We'll continue to follow this case and the ongoing search for baby Emmanuel and the path toward justice for those still waiting for answers. And lastly, moving on to Kentucky, we have a major update in another case Hidden True Crime has been following closely. Laken Snelling, a 21-year-old University of Kentucky student, is accused of concealing the body of her newborn baby after giving birth in her bedroom. According to police, on August 27th, around 4 a.m., Laken went into labor and delivered a baby boy alone in her apartment. She told investigators that the baby fell onto the floor and that she didn't think he was breathing. She said she stayed awake for about 30 minutes and lost consciousness, falling on top of the baby. When she woke up, she said she saw that the baby had turned blue and purple and believed he was dead. The affidavit states that Laken then wrapped the baby like a burrito in a towel and lay next to him for comfort. Around 7:30 a.m., she woke up, got a black trash bag from the kitchen, and placed the baby along with the placenta, which she sealed in a Ziploc bag inside the trash bag and hid it in her closet. She then showered, tried to clean up the blood with paper towels, and messaged her roommates on Snapchat saying she had passed out because she hadn't eaten and wasn't feeling well. 2 roommates later told police that heard loud noises like something falling, coming from her room for nearly an hour. They suspected she might be pregnant, but had never confirmed it with her. So when she left the apartment later that morning, her roommates went to her room and discovered a blood-soaked towel, a plastic bag containing evidence of childbirth, and ultimately the deceased newborn in the closet. They called 911 at 10:34 a.m. Police arrived and Laken returned home shortly after, where she was detained. Now, between leaving home and being detained, Laken never attended class as she had claimed she would. Instead, she picked up a mobile McDonald's order, drove to the University of Kentucky Student Clinic, but never went inside, then headed home where police were waiting. She was charged with abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, concealing the birth of an infant. She posted a $100,000 bail and was allowed to return to her parents' home in Tennessee, placed under house arrest. But now there's been a change. A judge has ordered that by this week, Laken must report to pretrial services to have an ankle monitor installed. She's also been ordered to remain at her father's home only, not travel between both parents' residence as before. No reason was listed on the court documents for this change, but if I had to guess, it may be that the prosecution sees her as a potential flight risk or believes that the prior conditions were simply too lenient without electronic monitoring. At this time, it's still unclear whether a grand jury will indict her, but will continue to follow every development in this case. If you have not seen my full coverage of Laken's story and Dr. John's psychological breakdown of the case, both are linked below in the description of this episode. We'll be following these cases closely, so hit subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated as soon as we learn more. I'm Lauren Matthias, and this is Hidden True Crime.